All right, NFL Week 12 is here. You know how this works. I've got 5 free plays for you. Sunday, 3 sides, all backed by key trends and angles, plus a teaser and a total. That total will be for Sunday Night Football between the Eagles and Rams. Of course, if you agree with any of these selections, be sure to hit that like button. Also, feel free to comment down below with any thoughts and or questions. Here we go. Number 1, Bears plus 3.5 versus the Vikings. Bears are, of course, off that heartbreaking loss to the Packers last week, but they did cover pretty easily, in fact, as 6-point underdogs. Now they're getting more than a field goal, still at home, against a Minnesota team that's playing its 3rd consecutive road game. Now, the Vikings have won the previous 2 road games, but look at who they beat. Jacksonville and Tennessee, 2 of the worst teams in the league. While I do have my concerns about Bears rookie quarterback Caleb Williams going against this blitz-happy Minnesota defense, love Brian Flores, what he's done with that Vikings defense. But let's talk about Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold for a bit. He has regressed in recent weeks. I don't think there's any surprise there. 4 straight games, the Minnesota offense has scored 23 points or less. There have also been 4 games this season where Darnold has turned the ball over multiple times. Somehow, the Vikings have managed to go 4-0 in those games. I don't think that can continue. You have to think if that potential game-winning field goal was not blocked last week, then Chicago would not be getting more than 3 in the spot. Give me the points. Number 2, Titans plus 8 at the Texans. Prior to this season, only 2 teams in the last 30 years had ever started a season 1-9 against the spread. Well, the Titans have now made that number 3. The only game Tennessee covered in 2024 was a 31-12 win at Miami on Monday Night Football. So that means they're 0 for 9 on Sundays at the betting window. But I think there's some good rationale for taking the points with the Titans this week. 1, they're catching Houston on a short week. Texans, who I honestly think are pretty mediocre, just won at Dallas Monday night. They may be feeling a little full of themselves heading back home, which brings me to my second point. C.J. Stroud is just 6-10 ATS as a favorite in his pro career. Lastly, the Titans have a good defense. Number 2 in the league in yards allowed, in fact. That's a big reason why the team actually has a positive yards per play differential this season. Too many points for a division game. Number 3, speaking of too many points in a division game, give me the Raiders plus 6 versus the Broncos. This has to be the peak of the market on Denver, who blew out Atlanta last week. But I want to go back to earlier in the season when the Broncos and Raiders first met. The Broncos were actually a 5% release for me. But guess what? Not only were they home for that first matchup, they closed only minus 2.5. Now they're minus 6 on the road for the rematch. And while the Broncos did cash for me in that first meeting, was very happy about it. Remember, they were on the verge of trailing 17-3 early. The Raiders were driving when Patrick Surtain intercepted a pass in the end zone and went 100 yards for a pick 6. That made it 10-10, and it was all Denver after that. I know the Raiders are a corpse, but this is way too many points for the Broncos to be laying on the road. Number 4, got a teaser for you. 49ers up to plus 9. Chargers up to plus 8.5. Now, I know Brock Purdy's status is iffy after being limited in practice Thursday, so you may want to wait here. If Purdy does play, though, it'll be the first time he goes off as an underdog in 32 career regular season starts. Even after his status is confirmed, we can still tease San Fran to the key numbers of 3 and 7, which is big because Green Bay generally does not blow teams out. Each of the Packers' last 3 wins have been by 3 points or less. 5 of their 7 wins this season have been by 6 points or less. Thought the Pack got a little lucky last week in Chicago. Jordan Love threw another INT. That makes it 8 straight games, I believe, for him throwing it to the other team. So the 49ers to keep it close. And Chargers, same thing. I think this game with the Ravens Monday night should be lined closer to a pick'em. The Chargers have the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL, giving up just 14.5 points per game. They've lost only 1 game by more than 7 points this entire season. Number 5, let's close it out with a play for Sunday Night Football. Not going to make you stay up late. First half under 23.5 between the Eagles and Rams. You may want to wait for a 24 to pop. Earlier, I mentioned that the Titans are number 2 in the league in yards allowed per game, while the Eagles are number 1. Over the last 6 games, Philly is allowing only 13.8 points per game. They are 8-2 to the under in the first half this season. A big reason for that, in addition to the aforementioned defense, is that Jalen Hurts of the offense, well, they play slow. They start slow, and they've scored only 14 first-quarter points all season. And Rams home games, well, they average just 18.6 total points per game in the first half as well. Let us now recap the Power 5. Number 1, Bears plus 3.5 versus the Vikings. Number 2, Titans +8 versus the Texans. Number 3, Raiders +6 versus the Broncos. 3 ugly dogs, the way I like it so far. Number 4, teaser, 49ers +9, Chargers +8.5. Number 5, first half under 23.5 for the Sunday Nighter Eagles and Rams. Again, comment down below with any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, whatever you have over those plays. Also, if you haven't already done so, be sure to smash that like button. I always appreciate the support. And let me know what you're betting on Sunday as well. You, of course, can find all of my plays at wt.buzz/BP. Remember, last Sunday, I cashed a 5% winner with the Bills over the Chiefs. This weekend, you can get all of my plays and Mark Sino's plays for just $69. That's right, I've teamed up with my Morning Wager co-host for a 2-for-1 special. Buy a 3-day pass from one of us, get the other guy, no extra cost. That's every play Mark and I release for the next 3 days for only $69. Head on over to the deals tab at WagerTalk.com to grab that and take advantage. And that's going to do it for Sunday's edition of the Power 5. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you're subscribed to the WagerTalk YouTube channel. And until next time, let's catch some tickets.